What's going on, everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be going over my top 10 list for New Comic Book Day, August 24th, 2022. I picked up a total of 10 issues this week, and honestly, this might be my most diverse new comic book that I've had on this channel in a very long time. I've got books to review today from Marvel, DC, Image, Boom Studios, Source Point Press, and Dark Horse. I'm very excited to talk about this list. There was a lot of really good books this week, so let's jump right into it. All right, everyone, I hope you all had a fantastic new comic book day and you were able to grab all of your books on time. I did miss out on a few books this week. The big one was I Hate This Place, issue number 4. My shop is still having some delays, and honestly, a lot of the books did show up damaged this week, so I missed out on some. That's the one I'm really bummed about, but they did order it for me. I'll be getting it in the coming weeks. And I finally did read The Closet, issue number 3. I'm not going to be getting in-depth with it, but I wanted to give you a heads up that I did finally read it. Honestly, the series is extremely skippable. I really didn't like it at all. The story, it just didn't feel complete. I thought where they were going with it, it didn't end up being that. It kind of got left open-ended, and I don't know. Let's talk about it more down below. That's just it. I really didn't like it that much at all. And now, for this top 10 list, as always, as I begin to talk about these books, just be aware, there's definitely going to be spoilers. I get very excited talking about them. I go a little bit more in-depth with them, but I put a little spoiler tag down below in the corner to give you a heads up that a spoiler is about to happen. So, to get started on this top 10 list, the first book we've got coming in at number 10 this week, we've got Dark Horse's brand new one. We have Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, issue number 1. This is cover A. I picked this one up extremely last second. You guys already know I'm not a big Star Wars fan. It's just not really my thing. I try to get into it here and there, so I do tend to pick up some of the newer stories. This one, I thought, Dark Horse, that's the popular Star Wars stuff. That's what a lot of the fans really like. This issue, in my opinion, it was definitely meant more for kids. The artwork, it reminded me a lot of IDW's Star Wars Adventures, that series, which really wasn't all that bad, but definitely a little bit more on the kids' side. And that's exactly how this one was. We've got Padme in it, Anakin, Obi-Wan, and they're just kind of on a rescue mission. That's what the entire thing was. Some cool action happens, but overall, I'm not going to be picking up the rest of these issues. Like I said, it's definitely meant more for kids. Let's talk about it more down below, but for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 10 this week, we've got Dark Horse's new one, Star Wars Hyperspace Stories, issue number 1. So I just want to give a huge shout out and a thank you to everyone that tuned into Tuesday's live stream where we talked about Cover Price's top 10 list of books. We broke everything down, and congrats if you are the 9,000 subscriber giveaway. Check out that video to see if you won, but I've got 10 books to give away to you guys now. It's a stack of indie issue number 1 books. All you have to do is 1, like this video, 2, comment down below what your favorite book of the week was, and 3, you got to make sure you subscribe to the channel. And then tune in to next Tuesday's live stream where we're going to be talking about Cover Price's top 10 list of books again to see if you are this giveaway winner. Now we're going back to that top 10 list. Next up this week, we've got coming in at number 9, this is Marvel's Spider-Gwen, Gwenverse, issue number 5. This is cover A, and for those of you reading this one, this is the series finale, and honestly, I am so happy that it's over. From the first issue to the last issue, I really didn't like this series at all. I'm a big fan of Spider-Gwen and just the Gwenverse. This one did not do it for me. I honestly kept reading it, just hoping, just holding out that they were going to reveal Spider-Zero's identity, and spoiler, they didn't do it. And now with this one, every single time that they just said, like, shock you or shock that, I just cringed. I felt like this series was very cringy and just very cheesy, and they were always aiming for some sort of joke. I like how they brought all the different Gwens together. It's kind of as if you were reading the Miles Morales series, where they had a Wolverine, a Hulk version of Miles. They're doing something very similar to this one, leading up to just, the whole multiverse falling apart. This issue in particular, I really didn't like how it ended either. Everything with just the finale villain, I don't know, like I said, it felt very cringy. All the Gwens came together then. This is going to be a little bit more of a spoiler. All the Gwens came together. They put their differences aside, and that's how they were able to defeat her. I don't know. Just my opinion. Really didn't like this one at all, though. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 9, we've got Marvel's Spider-Gwen, Gwenverse, issue number 5. Next up this week, we've got coming in at number 8, this is Marvel's Carnage, issue number 5. This is cover A. This is another series that I keep wanting to get into, but I'm just not really enjoying it all that much. The artwork is nice. I really like the earlier issues where it was more of 2 separate stories. It kind of is that same way. But we had Carnage, Kenneth Neely, and they had their own plot going on. And while they were figuring out their thing, we had Detective, I believe his name's John Shade. He was trying to find them. And I like those 2 stories, how they kind of, Detective John Shade was always just a couple steps behind Carnage and Kenneth. But now it's turned into something completely different. We're kind of following Carnage a little bit more closely. He's trying to gain all these different powers. Also, another cool thing, but just not exactly where I wanted the series to go. I'm going to be continuing on with this series, but this issue in particular, we pretty much got to follow Carnage and Kenneth Neely the entire time, and I really liked what they did with Kenneth Neely. He's talking to the elf, and the elf is basically talking to him and just explaining everything, like, why are you following Carnage? Why are you allowing him to do these things to you and all this stuff? We had a nice plot twist towards the end, and I really liked it for that reason. But other than that, like I said, there's something about this series I can't put my finger on that. I'm just not really enjoying all of that much. Let's talk about it more down below. Maybe it is just me, but overall, I wish the series was a little bit better. Maybe a little bit more horror because it's Carnage. Not exactly sure, but for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 8 this week, we've got Marvel's Carnage issue number 5. And now we've got coming in at number 7, this is Boom Studios' Grimm issue number 4. This is cover A. I've been a big fan of this series. I've talked about it where I'm not completely sold on it like some other people are, where they think it's going to be the next big thing. I still don't think it's going to be the next big thing, but I do think it's an extremely good series. I really like the artwork, I like the storytelling, and the plot progression throughout each one of these issues. This one, however, is coming in at number 7. I put the other 3 issues very high on the list when I discussed them. This one, it was a nice little progression, but honestly, not a lot of stuff happened in it at all. Our main characters, they're still trying to get away from the end. They're trying to figure out what's going on with this scythe that they just got, and they want to know what happened to Death. A lot of stuff is happening, but in this issue in particular, not a lot of stuff really did. So some spoilers are coming, but our main group, they finally escaped the end, and they made it to Las Vegas, and that's where they believe Death is. Some things happen here and there, and we got left on a nice little cliffhanger. Other than that, though, honestly, not a lot of stuff happened in this issue, but overall, still a very good series. Try to find the back issues if you can. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 7 this week, we have Boom Studios' Grimm issue number 4. Next up, coming in at number 6, we've got DC's Detective Comics, issue number 1063. This is cover A, and honestly, I really enjoyed this issue, and overall, I like what Ram V's doing with this new series so far. I like his storytelling, I like the artwork, I love the artwork, I love DC's artwork, I think they do such a great job on it. It's darker, it's grittier, it always fits the story that they're trying to tell, and now as far as this issue goes, I always have to give you a heads up before I start talking about DC books. I don't have a lot of knowledge on DC. I don't have a lot of knowledge on the characters or the events. So sometimes when I'm reading this stuff, I have to Google who some of these characters are. So just take that for what it is. With this issue, it kind of felt like there was a lot going on, but at the same time, they did a really good job with the pacing where it didn't really feel overwhelming. We've got Batman obviously doing some detective work. He's trying to figure out what this green ooze is that's affecting the people of Gotham. Harvey Dent made an appearance. I believe his name is Payne Cardmine. Batman made a little appearance to him as well, and he's trying to get him to do some work. A few other characters made appearances as well, and like I said, there's a lot going on with it. But I just love the whole detective side of everything in this series so far. Let's talk about it more down below, but for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 6 this week, we've got Detective Comics, issue number 1063 from DC. And now we're down to the top 5 issues of the week. And folks, if you are enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. So we've got coming in at number 5, this is Aftershocks Bunny Mask, The Hollow Inside, issue number 4. This is cover A. Now, based on how it ended, it sounds like it's the end of the volume. I could have sworn there was one more issue, but I could be wrong on that. So as of now, I do think this is the end of the newest volume. And overall, I think they did a fantastic job with it. The artwork, the consistency throughout the entire volume, just, the plot progression, just the story, the character development. I think overall, they did a great job with it, and I highly recommend not just this series, but volume 1 as well. And before you get involved with this one, you definitely have to read the volume 1 for this. And now, as far as this issue goes, while I am putting it at number 5, I wish I could have put it a little bit higher. I felt as though this one was a bit underwhelming as far as the final issue goes. I thought they were going to do more with the Hollow, some of the other characters, but what did happen, because not a lot of stuff did happen in this issue, I thought they were going to do a little bit more. Thought there was going to be more action, maybe some fighting between the Hollow and Bunny Mask, but instead it kind of turned into a cat and mouse game where the Hollow is basically chasing, I believe his name is Tyler, the entire issue. They did resolve some of the stuff between B and Tyler, and them resolving their issues kind of resolved everything else. I thought that was a little weak as far as the story goes, but overall, still fantastic. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 5 this week, we have Aftershocks Bunny Mask, The Hollow Inside, issue number 4. Next up this week, we've got coming in at number 4, this is Images, Radiant Black, issue number 17, this is cover A. Now, I know I've been all over the place reviewing this series. There's some issues where I love, there's some arcs that I think are better than other ones, but I'm standing firm on what I said in the last couple of reviews for this series. It's all over the place. There's too many open-ended plots, there's too many characters for me to keep track of, so I think this is going to be much better read in a trade paperback hardcover format eventually when that does come out. That's how I suggest reading this one, because right now, every once in a while, I do have to go back and reread what happened in some of the prior issues because I just don't remember with everything going on. Now, this issue in particular, it picks up right where the last one left off, and I think they did such a great job with it. It is all action. There's a little bit of story happening, and we get left on a very nice cliffhanger that I'm really excited. But the main part of this one that made me put it in at number 4, so it's definitely going to have some spoilers. We've got Marshall, we've got Nathan. They've had their beef over the last couple of issues. One of them is upset that the other one is the Radiant Black, and the other one's upset that that whole Radiant being is communicating with him and not the other one. A lot of drama happening, but do I even want to spoil it? Yeah, so big spoiler coming up. Nathan finally gets the Radiant Black character back. There are 2 Radiant Black characters, but that end cliffhanger is what made it all worth it. I can't wait to see what they do with it. I'm still standing firm, though. I said read this in a trade paperback hardcover format, but it was a sweet cliffhanger. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 4 this week, we have Images, Radiant Black, issue number 17. Next up this week, we've got coming in at number 3, this is Marvel's Miles Morales Spider-Man, issue number 41. This is cover A. This is the end of the arc for those of you reading this one, and I think they did a phenomenal job on this arc. Honestly, this might be one of my favorite arcs of the series. From start to finish, there was a tremendous amount of action. The artwork, it flowed over into some of the other pages with full art panels. I loved it. The character development, the interaction between the future characters that Miles is friends with, and just him, how he kept his cool with everything happening. It was so good, and this one wrapped everything up perfectly, so it is going to have some spoilers. We've got Miles. He finally found and released his Uncle Aaron, and just they teamed up together to take down Salim, and then maybe they made it home. I don't know. They traveled back through the multiverse, and it seems as though they're back in New York City, but you never know where it's going to lead. And that's what I really liked as well. They wrapped up everything, but they didn't leave us on a cliffhanger that's just going to lead us into the very next arc. Such a great story. Get the trade paperbacks for this, and I do think there's an omnibus coming out very soon, maybe in the next month or 2. So if you didn't have an opportunity to read this, that's your time to shine. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 3 this week, we've got Marvel's Miles Morales Spider-Man, issue number 41. Down to the final 2 issues of the week, and we've got coming in at number 2. This is Source Point Press's Little Red Ronin, issue number 2. This is cover A. This was a recommendation from all of you guys. You all said, hey, AR, you missed out on Little Red Ronin, issue number 1. My shop didn't have any copies. I heard some really positive things about it. I was hunting some books over the weekend. I found the first issue, read it, and I thought, there is no way that I'm missing out on issue number 2, and it did not let me down. The artwork, just a Little Red Ronin character, I believe they just call her Red. Fantastic character. Her friend Dave, and also just fantastic sidekick to this story. There was a ton of action in this one. It picks up where the last one left off, and we finally got to see just the giant wolf. Tons of action, tons of cool carnage. I love the artwork as well. Let's talk about this one more down below because, like I said, I missed out on it. You guys recommended it, and this is an absolute must pick up in my opinion. And for those reasons, we've got coming in at number 2 this week, we have Source Point Press's Little Red Ronin, issue number 2. And this is it, everyone. My top read of the week. We've got coming in at number 1. This is Images. The Department of Truth, issue number 20. This is cover A. James Tynion does not miss, unless if we're talking about The Closet, because that series is an absolute miss. However, The Department of Truth, I am a huge fan of it. Every single one of these issues has just been so good. The artwork has really grown on me. It fits the story so well. And I have talked about it in the past where I thought, we have all of these filler issues, and it feels like every single one of these issues is a filler. Even the small 2-issue, 3-issue arcs is almost as if it's a filler. I want to get back on track with the story. And as soon as he did, it just picked right up and took right off again. This one, Cole's not in it. Our other main characters really aren't in it, but we're seeing an entirely different side of the story. We've got Cole's husband in this issue. If you can recall from the last one, that whole other group kind of took him and said, hey, we need you to get Cole for us. We need you to get him back on track because Lee Harvey Oswald is not a good guy. If you can get Cole to help us, that's what's going to save the country. And at this point, 20 issues deep, I don't know who to believe. I don't know who to trust at this point. I don't know what to believe in, and that's why I love this series so much. It makes you think. It makes you question things, and that's kind of what the entire series is. It's all just conspiracies. What do you believe in? What do you have faith in? And just, I don't know. I love this. I love this issue. James Tynion is killing it on this one right now. Definitely try to find those trade paperbacks for this series. It's an absolute hit. And for those reasons, we definitely have coming in at number 1 this week, taking the crown. We have Images, The Department of Truth, issue number 20. And that's a wrap on this week's top 10 list of books, folks. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to let me know down below in the comments section which books that I missed out on and what was your top read of the week. And thanks for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below and the little bell to get notified every time I drop new videos. You won't regret it. And I've got 2 more sitting off to the side here with more of my comic book content. Click on one of those and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.